You didn't peak in high school. You weren't the prodigy. You weren't the one people pointed at and said, "Watch that one." While everyone else seemed to have a plan, a path, a personality already figured out, you were still searching, still becoming. And somewhere along the way, the world started making you feel like that was a problem, like you were behind, like the window was closing, like maybe, just maybe, you missed your moment. But here's what nobody told you. The late bloomer isn't the person who failed to launch. The late bloomer is the person the story was always building toward. Today, I'm breaking down the real psychology of the late bloomer, not the watered down, feel good version. The science, the patterns, the truth about why you are the way you are, and why the late bloomer psychology might be the most powerful mental profile hiding in plain sight. Stay with me. Every second of this was made for you. You know that person who's still figuring it out at 25, 30, 35, maybe even 40? The one who's switched careers more than once, who keeps getting told, "You have so much potential," as if potential is a compliment and not a quiet way of saying, "But you're not there yet." That person isn't lost. That person is loading. Society has a timeline. Graduate, hustle, succeed, peak. And it expects every human being, regardless of wiring, background, trauma, or calling, to follow that timeline like a factory schedule. But that timeline wasn't built for the late bloomer psychology. It was built for average. And the late bloomer has never been average. They've just been misread. Early bloomers are optimized for the world as it is. Late bloomers are being built for the world as it's going to be. The depth you've developed through years of searching, struggling, and pivoting, that's not wasted time. That's compound interest on human experience. You weren't slow. You were being prepared for something that required more of you. Because the late bloomer experience isn't just things took longer. It's a specific kind of psychological weight. It's watching your peers collect milestones while you're still in the process. It's explaining yourself at family dinners. It's grieving a version of yourself you thought you'd be by now. And it's doing all of that while somehow, still believing something bigger is coming. That instinct isn't delusion. That instinct is data. The late bloomer keeps going because something in their psychology won't let them accept a life that doesn't match what they know they're capable of. That quiet, stubborn, unshakable inner knowing, that's not naivety. That's the signal. Here's where the psychology gets fascinating. For decades, science assumed the human brain peaked in early adulthood, that by your mid-20s, the window for extraordinary growth had essentially closed. That assumption was wrong. It's called neuroplasticity, and here's the fact that should stop you cold. The prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for long-term thinking, emotional regulation, and complex decision-making, doesn't fully mature until you're 25 to 30 years old. In some people, even later. You were being graded on a test your brain wasn't finished studying for. And a study out of MIT found that the average age of peak innovation, when people produce their most groundbreaking work, is not 22. It's not even 30. It's 40. Not because people get lucky at 40, but because by 40, the late bloomer has accumulated enough experience, enough failure, enough pattern recognition to connect dots that nobody else can see. The late bloomer psychology isn't a glitch in the system. It's a feature the system doesn't know how to measure yet. Now here's the part where I step out of the explanation and just talk to you directly. Not as a narrator, as someone who knows exactly what this road feels like from the inside. Because I know what it's like to watch someone younger get the thing you've been working toward. I know the specific sting of a family gathering where everyone has an update and yours is still figuring it out. I know what it feels like to believe in something inside yourself that you can't fully prove yet. That's not weakness. That is the late bloomer's defining psychological trait. Psychologists call it self-directed resilience, the ability to sustain effort and belief in the absence of external validation. Most people need the world to confirm them before they'll keep going. The late bloomer learns, sometimes painfully, always powerfully, too. The late bloomer learns, sometimes painfully, always powerfully, to confirm themselves. That skill is worth more than a decade of early success. But here's something wild. The late bloomer psychology doesn't just produce resilience. It produces a specific kind of excellence that early success literally cannot replicate. Colonel Sanders was 62 when KFC became a franchise. Vera Wang didn't design her first dress until 40. Charles Darwin published On the Origin of Species at 50. Stan Lee didn't create his most iconic Marvel characters until his late 30s. These aren't consolation stories. These are case studies in what happens when depth finally meets opportunity. The late bloomer produces what researchers call a slow hunch, transformative ideas that don't arrive in a flash of early genius. They incubate. They cross-pollinate across years of experience and unexpected connection. And when they surface fully formed. Your years of searching weren't empty. They were incubating something. And it's closer to the surface than you think. Now, I have to be honest with you. Not every late bloomer story ends in triumph. Some people aren't late bloomers. Some people are avoiders, wearing the late bloomer label like a shield. And knowing the difference is everything. Are you a late bloomer who is genuinely in process, learning, building, preparing, even if the results aren't visible yet? Or have you been still? Not still as in patient, still as in frozen. Because one is the late bloomer psychology working exactly as designed. The other is fear with a compelling narrative. You didn't come this far to let a comfortable excuse be the thing that stops you. Something in you refuses to settle. So don't settle now. Psychologists call it late bloomer psychology. I want to give you a different name for it. Call it the long game. Not slow, not behind, not broken. Just playing a longer, deeper, more demanding game than the world has the patience to understand. A landmark study from Northwestern University found that people who experience significant struggle before finding their direction reported dramatically higher levels of long-term life satisfaction and sense of purpose than those whose path was smooth and linear from the start. The hard road didn't just produce success, it produced meaning. The late bloomer doesn't just end up successful. The late bloomer ends up whole. Your wiring was never the obstacle. Your wiring was always the answer. The late bloomer doesn't arrive late. The late bloomer arrives exactly when the story needs them most. And that moment, your moment, is not behind you. It is coming, and it is going to be worth every single year you spent becoming ready for it. Do you identify as a late bloomer? Drop it in the comments. Because the Mentra Psychology community is a collection of people who are still in the process, still betting on themselves, and still becoming something the world hasn't seen yet. If this video found you at exactly the right moment, go ahead and subscribe, because you already know this content is for you. The next video goes even deeper. If this one resonated, that one is going to hit harder. Click it. You'll understand why.